everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the channel, we're going to be talking about the 2007 anthology horror film directed by Michael Dougherty, Trick or Treat, and we're also going to be talking about its brand new Arrow Video 4K Blu-ray that just came out. But before we get into that Arrow Video 4K Blu-ray review, I always like to give a quick film review, and today is no different. So if you don't want to know anything about the film Trick or Treat, please make sure you guys skip ahead right now. So Trick or Treat was originally released back in 2009, despite sitting on the shelf for 2 years. This film was supposed to come out in 2007, did actually pretty well on the festival circuit, but for some reason this never got an official theatrical release, and I'll never understand why. This is the kind of movie that seemed like it would have the studio machine behind it. It's directed by Michael Dougherty, and Michael Dougherty actually co-wrote the films X2, X-Men United, and Superman Returns under Bryan Singer. And I'm going to guess that relationship with Bryan Singer helped get this movie made, and also is the reason why we get Anna Paquin and Brian Cox in this movie, who both appeared in X2, X-Men United, because I always thought it was strange that Brian Cox is in this movie that, didn't even get a theatrical release. Brian Cox is one of those acclaimed actors, so I thought it was always strange that he pops up in this movie. And he does a great job in it, too. You probably wouldn't even recognize him. He's such a curmudgeon in this film. But this movie, just because it never got released in theaters, over time, it actually picked up steam and became a pretty big cult hit. Which is another reason why it's very confusing that this movie didn't get released in theaters, because horror movies do so well. A movie around the holiday of Halloween, just releasing this like the week before Halloween, it would have been guaranteed to make money. But I'm not entirely sure what the reason is, but thankfully all these years later, it finally has the cult following it deserves. And it's just one of those great anthology horror movies in a genre that has so many anthology movies and anthology series. For this one to stand out, I think a lot of it has to do with the Mike Dougherty writing and the Mike Dougherty directing, because unlike other anthology horror movies, this one actually all takes place in one town. All the characters are actually connected to each other. One character even pops up in every single segment. That's the character of Sam. That's this movie's big 1980s slasher villain. Everyone recognizes the character of Sam in this movie. This little demon child who is somehow half like jack-o'-lantern and half human, so whatever the hell he is, he's basically the sheriff of Halloween. He's there to enforce the law. If you're not handing out candy, then you better bet that you were going to meet a horrible demise. And you notice this right in the beginning of the movie when the first two characters that we see, they're coming home. The one character decides, I'm going to blow out the jack-o'-lantern. Despite being warned that if she does that, you're breaking a Halloween tradition. And Sam catches wind of this, and that's how this character meets her demise. And that's how we eventually end up with the Dylan Baker character, the principal of the local school. We see him talking to an actor who I've only ever seen in Bad Santa, that kid with the curly hair. They're having a conversation, and as that conversation's going on, it's revealed that, you know what, Dylan Baker's character, he's a little bit of a weirdo, and he's also a serial killer because he kills this kid. And at the very end of this segment, we see that him and his son are basically making jack-o'-lanterns and using his head as the jack-o'-lantern. That's pretty crazy. And one thing you'll notice throughout the early segments is you'll see characters like Brian Cox's character getting attacked, and that's something we won't address until later in the movie. Same thing with certain other kids that we see pop up in this early segment, who would later have their own segment dealing with another kid who they tell the story of the bus driver who drove these 8 kids to their death, but he somehow got away. And then of course we end up finding out who that bus driver is by the very end of this movie. Again, having everything tie into each other because it's such a well-written anthology horror movie. It's also beautifully shot. It captures that, I would say, Ohio's not quite the Northeast, but it really captures that, like, Northeast of the United States Halloween feel where the leaves are all changing colors. It's got that crisp air out there, and, those orange lights, the jack-o'-lanterns. It just looks absolutely beautiful. This is the kind of movie you watch on Halloween Day. You watch this, and you watch Halloween 3, and, of course, the original Halloween. But I think Halloween 3 and this movie capture the spirit of the holiday better than any other movie out there. It's the perfect Halloween Day film, dealing with the holiday, and of course, it's got every single horror genre in there that you could imagine. We got ourselves zombies, we got ourselves werewolves, we got ourselves a slasher villain, and we even have an urban legend. So this horror anthology film has it all, and it deserves the cult following that it has now. It's just a shame it should have got way more recognition. I feel like if this movie had been released in theaters, it would have even more love than it does right now, because people do absolutely love this film now, as you can tell by this beautiful Arrow Video 4K Blu-ray release we're going to talk about, because it's not the only good physical release that this movie's had, and thankfully it has found its audience. But without further ado, let's talk about this Arrow Video 4K Blu-ray. So here it is, Trick or Treat on 4K Blu-ray, courtesy of Arrow Video, and there was an Arrow Video store exclusive where you'll find the artwork that looks similar to this one underneath, but I decided to get the regular standard version, mainly because I use Atomic Movie Store, so I bundled this with a bunch of other movies, and I decided, you know what, I also really like this commissioned artwork a little bit more than the movie poster, but, you know, either which way you go, you got all the same stuff underneath, and this is actually going to be replacing my Warner Brothers release that came out in 2015. Now, there was a Scream Factory 2018 Blu-ray release that came out. The big difference I was able to notice is, of course, in the extras, but there's also a different audio track that's on that Blu-ray that is on the Scream Factory Blu-ray, and I think that Scream Factory Blu-ray audio track is the same DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 that's on here, because on that one, it's Adobe True HD 5.1, and I didn't see anywhere where it was a new audio track. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's look at this packaging, because it is really nice. Like, you come underneath, you get a one-disc set. Arrow Video is the king of the one-disc sets, because they cram as much as they possibly can onto that Blu-ray. We get so many different extras on there. Me being the extra junkie that I am, we get, I believe, 5 new interviews on here, including one with the kid who played Sam, which I absolutely loved. I thought that was a great interview. And not only did we get these brand new interviews that were commissioned for this, we get all the extras that were on that Scream Factory Blu-ray that are archival, that are put on here, and everything that was on that previous Warner Brothers release that I have, which includes a pretty cool, very short segment looking at the VFX of the school bus massacre. That was done pretty cool. I like that they have that on here, and that carried all the way over to here. So this is the new definitive edition of Trick or Treat when it comes to the extras, because you'll have a smorgasbord of them put right onto one 4K Blu-ray disc along with the film. And the film is pretty short, so it makes sense that they would have that space on there. Now, I know that people who buy these for the brand new scan on Blu-ray and don't actually have a 4K Blu-ray player yet, you know, they might be a little bit disappointed to find out that this is a one-disc set, and if you want to buy the Blu-ray, you probably have to go back and buy that Scream Factory Blu-ray, which does have a good amount of extras as well, but you won't be getting this brand new scan. And another thing I want to point out is, you also get a couple posters in here and some lobby cards. I'm not a big fan of that stuff, mainly because in my house I don't have enough room for all these posters. So I actually have like a bunch of posters to my right over here, like just because when I buy like Scream Factory stuff and they come with posters, I would give them away if anyone's like interested. I've given a couple away to like David, aka Shamrock Balls. I feel like they're just wasting away in my office here just because I don't have space in my house to be hanging up all these posters. I'm jealous of the people who do. So those lobby cards and, that poster, I don't really get the full use out of them, which is a little bit disappointing. And now what about that audio track? Like I said, the previous Warner Bros. Release had a Dolby True HD 5.1. Then the Scream Factory release had a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, and this one has a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 as well, and I imagine it's the same one as that Scream Factory Blu-ray release, which is a really good audio track. It's not the greatest DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 I've ever heard, but they do a pretty good job mixing the sound, mixing the audio. I mean, it does feel like a horror movie when you're watching it. It'll make sure that, when a sting in the score hits, it gets pretty loud. So that's all I could ever really hope for in one of these, is that they at least make good use of the channels, and there's nothing really for me to complain about. So it's a pretty damn good DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. But we're all here for those visuals, and it is a night and day difference between my previous 2015 Blu-ray and this brand new Arrow Video 4K. You get Dolby Vision and HDR10, and this is one of the rare times where I have to point out that the Dolby Vision, in my opinion, actually looked better than the HDR10. I tested that HDR10 on 2 players, and both times I thought the Dolby Vision just looked a little bit better. I thought the colors were a little bit brighter. I thought you saw more of a contrast between those bright colors and the dark scenes. Every dark scene wasn't perfect in this 4K Blu-ray, just to point that out. There were some times where it would look a little bit faded, where we weren't able to hit those deep blacks, but that are very minor concerns, because this is one of the biggest upgrades I have seen, one of the best looking as far as the visuals go in 2024. I expected this to be an upgrade, but I didn't expect Arrow Video to give this 4K Blu-ray as much care as they did. And I mean, you're going to notice this right away. As soon as the credits are done rolling, we kind of pan down into this town, and we can see everybody in their costumes. We got these like string orange lights hanging, and it just looks gorgeous. Like, I'm telling you, I was sitting next to my wife. I'm like, can you believe how beautiful this looks? It looked absolutely stunning. And throughout the entire 4K Blu-ray, the visuals were just absolutely gorgeous. You know, we have the bright colors, the full colors, everything looks very dense and vivid. And this is one thing when I was watching some other 4K Blu-rays because I got a bunch in one shot. I got 7 4K Blu-rays in one shot. And this is where I could notice the difference between a studio 4K Blu-ray and a boutique 4K Blu-ray, because this was such a better looking 4K Blu-ray than the 4Ks I watched the day before in The Sixth Sense and Ghost. This is what people want when they get these kinds of releases. Where a movie like The Sixth Sense, which is beloved by so many people, doesn't have the same 4K Blu-ray quality as Trick or Treat, which has this cult following that's put out by a boutique label. That just shows you that this 4K Blu-ray is done by people who actually care about this film in comparison to people who are just looking for a quick check. And that's really disappointing in the sense of like The Sixth Sense, because in my review I said it's not a bad 4K Blu-ray, but when you get a 4K Blu-ray like Trick or Treat, which gives you all the bells and whistles, and if you're a fan of Trick or Treat, there's just no way you're going to be disappointed with this 4K Blu-ray. And I think it right now is $28. The only thing I could ever ask for with this that I would have liked is to give us the Arrow Video fine china, that hard casing. But again, these are minor complaints, because overall, this is a phenomenal release from Arrow Video. And if I was going to give this one a score of 1 to 10, I'm giving Trick or Treat on 4K Blu-ray a pretty damn solid 9 out of 10. This is a great one. This is definitely one I can highly recommend. But guys, it's also Tuesday, and that means it's time for our digital code giveaway. In every single video we do on Friday, I ask you guys 2 digital code giveaway questions. All you gotta do is answer one in the comment section. As long as you did that, you came back to this video right here where I put your name on a magic wheel, spun that bad boy 2 times. The 2 names it landed on, and they have their choice of the digital codes you've seen on your screen before you today. You know, without further ado, let's spin this magic wheel and see who our 2 lucky winners are. And there you have it, Scotty G and Laugh in My Bay. I don't think Scotty G's ever won, but Laugh in My Bay, I know you've won before. So this is how it works. Reach out to me at my email address, letstalkentmt@gmail.com, or you can always reach out to me Facebook, Instagram, the artist formerly known as Twitter. Let me know which of the digital codes you want. As long as the other winner didn't take it, that digital code is all yours. And guys, if you didn't win this week, don't worry about it. Make sure you come back to Friday's video where we can do this all again. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We also have channel memberships, so if you want to become a friend of the channel, a producer for the channel, like Jed Eckert and John Doe Juggalo, or even a channel director like Mr. Smelly Potato and Frank from Frank's Medium Reviews, you can look for all that information in the description below. And if you got no money to throw away, guys, don't worry about it all. We just hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.